Hello, I'm Brigantia, Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Tuesday and welcome to Pagan Problems, Reality Checks, and Making Adjustments. It's been an interesting few months, hasn't it? And the near-term future doesn't seem to be getting any calmer. We still have the planetary retrograde season in full swing. Our civilization is having a complete spaz out, and of course, a lot of the major holidays are coming up. So I would imagine that I'm not alone in the feeling that maintaining the status quo may not be the most effective pathway forward. There's a time to tough things out, and then there's a time to realize that the season has changed and it's necessary to respond accordingly. If, like me, you're feeling your personal energy going more and more inwards, and that the more you fight it, the stronger that pull gets, let's acknowledge that reality together. The seasons, as we know, have their own ebb and flow of energy, and then the planets go through an ebb and flow as due to the tides of the ocean. Now, when we think of this in the context of pagan teachings, we know that it tells us consistently, no matter what path we're on, that human beings are a part of the natural order as a species and as individuals. So it logically follows that our own personal energies also have that ebb and flow, as all things do. So it does not make us weak or uncommitted to recognize that and to tailor our activities accordingly. Different stages of life come with different needs, and ignoring this doesn't make it go away. So I am having to make some adjustments. Perhaps you are as well, and I hope this video will embolden you to make those adjustments as appropriate without beating yourself up for it. So, the recent bout of illness, which was a treat, I'm here to tell you, it made me realize just how full my normal schedule is. Now, when all things are going smoothly, it's not a problem. I've got a great groove, a great routine, and it's all very wonderful. But if something goes wrong, the least little thing, it puts me into catch-up mode. Now, one of the things that my patron deity Loki has been really emphasizing for me for nearly a year is that I have a need to be more flexible and to allow more time for life's little hiccups. But even though I know that intellectually, it's still very difficult for me to pull back because some part of my brain is convinced that if I have not scheduled every single hour, if I'm not wearing myself out, if I find myself, having time for other things in my life, then I'm just not working hard enough and I'm not making sufficiently good use of time. Surely there's a video I could make or content I could create for the server or something. But this is not a balanced thought process. It is not healthy, so it's time for a little change. Now, it used to be my custom to post the day's astrology, tarot, magical correspondence, and any video links that I had on all of my social media. However, in the recent past, I've just been posting video links and links to the other pagan content creators in the Gilded group as they've had new content come out. Now, the Gilded group is at the heart of the community building work that I'm attempting, and all of my other social media platforms are essentially just an attempt to connect with people to ultimately bring them into the Gilded group. And that honestly goes for the videos as well. The videos are essentially of the case of, this is why maybe you might think I'm worth talking to. Here's other pagan content creators. Maybe you'll think they're worth talking to you. Wouldn't it be nice to come to one group so you could talk to all of us at the same time? So that's always been the goal. And because that is the ultimate goal, I've decided it's going to be sufficient just to post my video links and the video or the blog links of the other Gilded members on platforms like Gab, Gitter, Locals, MeWe, Minds, and Truth Social. This still allows for interested newcomers or more experienced pagans who've just heard of us to still get a sampling of everyone's work, get a feel for what we're all about, but it doesn't require me to spend too much time on platforms that I'm ultimately not invested in, and I'm just using them as a means to an end. Now, on the topic of videos, I've decided that I would like to have weekends off. I need to have some guilt-free downtime, and also I need some time that if I do fall behind in my schedule, I have a little bit more of a grace period to get caught up before it creates a disruption of services. And of course, I want to continue not just to have more content, but to have a higher quality of content. And since my technical skills leave much to be desired, and that will probably be the way things are for a while, that means having a more greater substance in what I'm saying and putting more effort into that. So in an effort to simplify things and get everything shifted around, I've decided to move the Norse study series to Mondays, and that begins immediately. So the next chapter of that particular series that we'll post it will be next week, Monday. Pagan problems will remain on Tuesdays, whether it's pagan, specifically pagan problems or just commentary on current events. That's going to be a Tuesday thing. Wednesdays, I will still have the Journey Through the Tarot and the Havamal verse of the week. These are shorter videos anyway, so it isn't really a crunch to continue on with them. Thursdays will still be devoted to the Pagan Housewife series, but I will also be adding into that series the content that I would have put into the local Pagan series, because I still have that goal of getting a lot more in tune with the surroundings I'm actually in, even though I am hopefully expanding my knowledge base into my ancestral lands and to my culture heritage, into my spiritual heritage. I still want to make sure that I am staying grounded where I'm at, because my spirituality is going to have to connect me to this land and how I can find the Norse gods here where I'm at, what I'm doing. So I think that the Pagan Housewife is going to be a little bit more of a natural fit, and of course, wherever I feel like it needs to be sprinkled in, that's where it will go. So it's not disappearing entirely; it's just transforming. Now, Fridays, starting in November, I will use those for the Wicca 202 classes. Now, my Loki focus videos are going to become a bit more sporadic. After I got sick, Loki kept giving me nudges that maybe it was time to calm things down a little bit, that our work was going to be a little bit more personal, a little bit more relevant to me, not necessarily relevant by extension to anyone else. And any video content I might have about him going forward, it's going to be a little less about, essentially defending him in this public sphere. I have over a year's worth of videos that make the case for Loki, why he's worth re-examining as a deity, why people may have a skewed viewpoint of him. So if someone who's anti-Loki happens to watch all those videos and they still can't stand the thought of him, then there's really nothing more I can say or do that will open their minds. And while there will be some occasional Loki videos here and there, as I feel inspired to do them, I am entering into a phase where my work with him is a bit more private, at least for this particular season. I mean, a few months from now, we could be in a very different place. It's just hard to say. It's Loki. He gives me the nudge, and then I respond to the nudge, or he nags me until I do. So that just seems to be the way that it works. Now, on the Gilded group, I've just created a new category of channels. It's for pagan content creators who aren't members of the Gilded group. My goal is for the group to come together and build up a list of good pagan resources that aren't woke, that aren't infected by leftism, and of people who have opinions that are worth hearing and discussing. Ultimately, my hope is that the pagans on the server, well, pagans everywhere really, can completely eliminate woke content creators, the ones who call themselves pagan, but, aren't really. I would like for us not to have to rely on them as being resources of information on any topic. We should not have to take in a video that's 90% poison to get 10% of good information. That's not a good ratio. That's not a good trade-off. And ultimately, it just leads to us creating excuses for people who have really veered off. They have parted from the ways that we are going ourselves, and it also leads us to perhaps ignoring other content creators who might have smaller channels or might just have larger channels that we haven't heard of yet. It means that we're ignoring them. So if we're going to be in front of the screen, then let's use that time wisely. And if we can eliminate the woke from our from our hearing, from our sight, that probably is going to be a much healthier way for us to go forward, because we're not going to spend, after a 10-minute video, 45 minutes dissecting all the ways in which their viewpoint got wonky and skewed and the reasons why, and here's what we actually think. Why do that when instead we could be finding ourselves entering into a dialogue with someone who actually has some sense in their head? So for these new channels, thus far I have spots for Styx Hexenhammer 666, Bjorn, Andreas Bull Hansen, The Wisdom of Odin, Norse Magic and Beliefs, and Freya Norling. Obviously, I will be adding more channels as I become aware of them and at the recommendation of members of Blackbird's Brew on Gilded. I just want to make sure that no matter what your pagan path is that if there is a resource out there that isn't woke, that we find a way to connect you with it, and also to help other people who are on a similar journey to you also connect with that content, and so you can also connect with each other. So I hope that anyone watching this will help me with this effort of web weaving, albeit this is at a distance. We can help each other. We can make it easier for our brothers and sisters to come across content creators that they haven't bumped into before, who are relevant to their paths, who have something worthwhile to say about current events sometimes, and honestly, who are not going to make our ears and eyes bleed with woke bullshit. So these are the changes that I have already implemented. There's one more that I would like to explore a bit further, but of course, it requires more than my own effort. For the past few months, my absolute favorite videos that I feel most proud to be part of have been collaboration videos with other pagans or members of the Gilded Group. And I've expressed in the past that I would like to do more of that, and I still do. Now, the hard part always seems to be getting everyone's schedules aligned. That does seem to be a bit of a struggle. We have a lot of different time zones going on, and a lot of people lately have had their own lives go just a little bit haywire. So it hasn't been congenial. I mean, we've managed, we've done what we could, but certainly we've been operating on less than ideal circumstances. But nevertheless, this is something that I absolutely want to do more of. It's worth the effort. I want to have proper conversations about topics that matter. So I am continuing the search to reach out to more people. And I have put some feelers out there. The ball's kind of in their court at this point. We'll see who, if anyone, is willing to indulge me. But I feel like this is where it's going to be at for growth, not just for my channel or anyone else's, although that would certainly be nice. We would all benefit from that. But the real growth that I'm hoping for is growth for the Gilded Group and growth for the pagan community in general. These cross-channel conversations with pagans who are willing to speak their minds in a public way is really ultimately about claiming our rightful place in society. The internet, this is where we communicate. This is the means by which that communication takes place. So when we are taking up space here, we are saying we are members of the community. We are full-fledged. We are not some weird fringe. We are your neighbors. We are sensible people. We have something worth to say, worth listening to. And this goes for whether or not someone has a channel that has, followers in the millions, or who has just one subscriber who may or may not be their mom. If you are willing to put your thoughts out into the world in a coherent way and you have something of substance to communicate, then you are helping claim some space for us all, and that's a very worthwhile thing to do. And whether we're connecting to have conversations about theological matters or to comment on current events, I think it's healthy for the pagan community as a whole to have these important conversations on our own terms, with our own worldview, without having to justify our very existence. I mean, clearly we are not going to get paid that particular favor by more mainstream personalities, at least not yet. But we can certainly take each other seriously, and if the rest of the world wants to ignore us, well, that is really their loss. That is really their loss. When you look at world events from a more pagan perspective, a lot of things become a lot more clear. It gives us context in which to put the flow of history, and also it gives us more reasonable goals to work towards. And it also detaches us from the destructive ideas of utopia that we find in other religions and in other political ideologies. So I think we have things worth saying, things worth hearing, and I hope you will join me in that project. If you do and you would like to reach out to me, let's start a conversation. If you have some of your own work to refer me to, please send me links. I mean, you're free to look at my channel. You know what I do, and I've done a fair bit of it in recent years. So you will have an opportunity to get a gauge on me. If you have some content I can look at, that gives me a little bit more an informed opinion about you and what conversations we might really be able to have that could be, interesting for anyone who happened to listen. So please don't hesitate to reach out. But this video has gone on for a little bit. Leave your thoughts for me in the comments section below. Better yet, come see us on Gilded. There's a link to join us in the description box. Blackbird's Brew, click on it, take you to us, and we'll be able to have a conversation there in real time without, the delays of, checking for notifications and all this and that. I do love the Gilded Group. It makes a lot of things so much easier. So I hope to see you there soon, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.